Establishing the ideology of Islam is first and foremost. Only then can any other aspect of Islam be addressed.
Each messenger has came with a single call. O my people, worship Allah. You have no other Lord but Him.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. May the peace and blessings of Allah be on His Messenger Muhammad. In this episode, we will continue our discussion about the importance of beginning the call to Islam with the firm belief in the absolute authority, sovereignty, supremacy, and oneness of Allah, and the testimony, La ilaha illallah. There is no deity except Allah. We mentioned in the previous episode that people should first become devoted to Allah before being introduced to any specifics or particulars of Islam, such as its rulings. That is the first point regarding the importance of beginning with the establishment of the ideology. Now we will move on to the second and third points. The second point is that the call to Islam is based on the fact that truth is one and not many, and anything other than truth is falsehood. There can only be either the rule of Allah or the rule of people. As such, Islam does not let people do as they wish, living only based on their desires and own thinking, traditions and cultures, which is all called Jahiliya. Rather, Islam seeks to replace all of this and establish people's lives upon its own unique characteristics, based on divine guidance. Allah declares in the Quran, "Then is it the judgment of Jahiliyyah they desire? But who is better than Allah in judgment for a people who are certain in faith?" So people can either take the judgment and the rule of Jahiliyyah or the judgment and the rule of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There can be no middle ground with half Islam and half Jahiliyyah, because Islam does not accept any compromise. Such is the clear Islamic attitude regarding the call to Allah's religion. Jahiliyyah, both old and modern, may have many forms depending on people's desires. Allah's divine law erases all of that and establishes a rule that cannot be tampered with and is free from human error and whims. Therefore, the present Islamic groups and all advocates to Islam need to fully comprehend this consequential fact. This fact must be well established for all groups, including ours, so that when we present Islam to people, we do so clearly and properly. People must understand that once they embrace Islam, it will change their perceptions, attitudes, and way of life. Islam will lift their ideals and condition to levels more noble and suitable for humanity. At the same time, Islam will not forbid nor prevent any scientific or technological advancement. In fact, Islam advocates for such advancement because it encourages all that is good. The call to Allah must have this clarity and honesty. Therefore, we must not present to people Islam as a trivial matter that will only cause minor changes in their lives. Instead, we must announce to them that the Jahiliyyah they are in currently is full of misery and wretchedness, and Allah wishes to bestow His mercy upon them. The third point regarding the importance of beginning with establishing the ideology is that the people are truly capable of changing from one way of life to another that is better and more complete. This is only logical, especially when it concerns the absolute foundation of life, belief or disbelief in the absolute authority and supremacy of Allah. Therefore, all present Muslim groups must thoroughly comprehend this matter. They must not feel discouraged from calling people to give up their Jahiliyyah. It must be clear to them that the easiest way is in fact to completely transfer people from their miserable reality to the religion of Allah. Confronting people's miserable ways of life by addressing trivial matters will only cause more confusion and will never achieve the Islam that Allah intended for humanity. It is true that people might initially despise this enormous transition from Jahiliyyah to Islam. However, people despised it just the same during the first call to Islam. In fact, they tortured Islam's advocates severely in Mecca, but they themselves eventually accepted the truth. Unfortunately, every once in a while, we see some advocates to Islam calling people to such erroneous concepts as Islamic socialism or Islamic democracy. And we see others claim that current economic, political, societal situations only require minor adjustments of Islamic practice within society to resolve their problems. They appeal to people's sentiments and convince them that returning to Allah's religion will not affect their way of life or their attitudes and values. They tell them that with only minor or trivial changes, they can become devoted to Allah. They can become servants of Allah. There is no doubt that societies and the people in general have sunk into the depths of Jahiliya, and we need to call them back to Islam once again. Therefore, superficial adjustments or reforms will never suffice. Calling for democracy, which elevates human will above Allah, or any other reforms where people still remain masters over other people, is in clear violation with the Islamic methodology, because the call to Islam is fundamentally a call to the truth. And the absolute truth is that Allah is the Supreme, the owner of all authority and praise. Therefore, the Islamic call cannot involve compromises with Jahiliyyah, and it must not be pressured by the prevalent social culture and norms. It is indeed a call that is based on the proclamation of the truth, with both clarity and affection. Such is the way of the call to Allah's religion, and such should be our way of presenting it to the people. We still have more to speak about. Inshallah, we will continue further in future episodes. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.